Okay, give me a second here. Let's make this box bigger. Okay, and I'll move a little bit to the right so I can see what I'm looking at. All right, it's late here, so I'm gonna kind of keep my voice down, but hopefully that doesn't take a wait. Let me start over. Okay, this is going to be lesson 2, as you can see from the series Basic Spanish Grammar. If you have not watched the first series, you might need to because I'm building on what I did in lesson 1. And so, like if you see here, we have handy vocabulary, that's going to be covered today. Possessive adjectives, that's going to be covered today. And conjugating, specifically the comer verb, which is an ER verb, and it's comer is to eat. It's our paradigm. And actually, I am not going to use vivir. I changed my mind. So just comer in the exercises today. Yeah, so I expect you to know how to conjugate the AR verb, the hablar, and so that will help you with the comer. But we'll review comer just in case. Okay, so here we go. Let me scroll down here, or let me scroll. So the subject pronouns in Spanish, again, already covered in lesson 1, so I'm not gonna rehash all of it. Let's just start. A little review here. Yo como. Yo como, I eat. Yo como, I eat. Yo como ensalada. Ensalada is obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but kind of obviously, I think, salad. What's going on with my lighting? I feel like my screen is changing colors on me as I'm watching myself. Anyway, so I'll stop watching myself. Tú comes. Tú comes hamburguesas. Hamburguesas. And the reason why that U exists, why this U here is there, is because without that U, it would be hamburguesas. Remember the E after the G makes the G soft, which makes it like a J, like a ha, ha. So to keep the hard sound of the G, that's why you throw in the U before the E. Hamburguesas, hamburgers. Okay. Ella come tallarines. Now this word doesn't have this would be hard to guess. Like I don't really see any I don't see how you would figure it out that it's spaghetti. So tallarines is spaghetti. Ella come tallarines. Ella come tallarines. Ella come tallarines. Yo como ensalada. Tú comes hamburguesas. Ella come tallarines. Okay, so that's the singulars. Then we go to the nosotros. Remember, the nosotros is usually the most idiosyncratic. It's kind of usually the one unique case, right? This is the first person plural. Nosotros, we. It's the we. Nosotros comemos ceviche. Ceviche. If you don't know what ceviche is, like you got to try ceviche. And I recommend Peruvian ceviche. I'm Peruvian. Okay, maybe I'm biased, but I still think it's the best ceviche. Nosotros comemos ceviche. Ceviche. Okay. Ustedes comen tacos. Ustedes comen tacos. If you're American, you obviously know tacos. Ellos comen plátanos. Plátanos, I don't know how. Well, actually, plátanos, you might get it. Just think of plantains. Or, sorry, plantains. Plantains, right? Plantains, if you know what plantains are, right? So plátanos is bananas, right? Plátanos is bananas. Plátanos, plantains. Plátanos, plantains. Am I thinking plantains? Like for some reason now I'm doubting what I think plantains are. But okay, plátanos is bananas. Usted come peras. And I chose peras because I was hoping like you would be able to figure it out. It's also a fruit, kind of fruit. It's pears. Peras, pears. Not too difficult to remember, right? Peras, pears, same letters, right? Like if you swap the A and the R, you'd have pears, right? So peras, pears. Okay, so one more time, because again, when we do the translation exercises, I'm not going to let you, I'm not letting you look at this chart. I'm going to expect for you to like have it memorized. Yo with the O ending, como with the O ending. Yo como ensalada. And remember, the pronouns in Spanish, the subject pronouns are usually not said. It's only when you're emphasizing or you're contrasting or comparing yourself to, or comparing the subject to somebody else or other people that you would use it. But normally it's not said. And most agglutinative languages, right, the subject pronouns are omitted, just like in Spanish, because the verb contains the same information. So yo como ensalada, ensalada. Tú comes, tú comes hamburguesas. Remember, the H is completely silent. Don't even like try to whisper it. Don't even try to like nothing. Hamburguesas, hamburguesas. Just like the word hour, like as in time in English, right? The word hour in English, you don't say the H at all, but you do say it in history, right? But okay, so hamburguesas. This idea should not be foreign to English speakers. Ella, and again, we're using ella as our like our pronoun of choice instead of él, because ella helps us remember habla, which also ends with an A. But here, because this is an ER verb, comer, ER verb, it's going to be E at the ending. Ella come tallarines. Ella come tallarines. I feel like I'm watching the screen, my monitor, and then I'm not watching the camera. I'll start watching the camera a little bit more. Ella come tallarines, spaghetti. Nosotros comemos. Nosotros comemos ceviche. I don't, ceviche. I think there's an E missing, an accent mark over the last E, ceviche, because I think that's where the stress goes. So I might have left it out here. But just listen to how I say it. Ceviche, right? Ceviche. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the accent mark goes over the E, but I don't want to mess this up. Well, maybe I can do it. So I think the accent mark is going to go over this E, and so it'll be ceviche, like that. Okay, I'm 90% sure. Usted comen, you guys eat tacos. Tacos. It's not a South American thing. This is more like a Central American thing. Obviously, Mexicans and I think El Salvadorians have their own version of tacos, and probably Guatemala and Nicaragua también also, but I don't know. Ellos or ellas, they, masculine ellos, feminine ellas, comen plátanos. And notice the accent mark over the A in the first A because that's where the stress goes. It's plátanos. It's plátanos. Ellos comen plátanos. Y usted come peras. Pears. Okay, that's the conjugation. Again, I really, if you watch video one and you did the exercises, you've got pretty much the hablar, the AR verb, the regular AR verb, which is the paradigm is hablar. You've got that down for the most part, hopefully. Okay, and then switching over to the comer is easy. You just switch all the A's to E's as we said in the first video. Okay, handy vocab. Let me slide this down a little bit. This is where we're going to take our time and going to give some mnemonics and some etymology or just some anything to help you remember. Para. Para is a preposition which has many uses. It means for, like for dinner, or for you. Like if you would say for dinner or for you, you use para. To, right, as in order to, and by. Those are generally the to in order to kind of the same meaning here. So those are generally the three prepositions that we associate with para. But and so the main use is not the only uses, but the main uses are to express purpose, as you know, in order to express its purpose. It expresses direction, right? It's where you're heading. It could be a physical location like the direction, but it could be other kinds of directions. Destination, like physical location, and for the benefit of somebody, right? Like for you, I made this for you. I baked this for you. I brought this for you. Para ti. You is ti. Para ti. Okay, so this is the main. It's not exclusive, but this is the main. And this is beginning grammar. So, I mean, this is beginning, yeah, grammar. So we're not going to really go too heavy on the vocabulary. Okay. Desayuno. Desayuno is breakfast. The Spanish des, the prefix des, is similar to the English dis, right? So when you disincentivize, right, you kind of undo the incentive, right? You take away the incentive, you negate the incentive. When you disassemble, you reverse the assembly aspect, right? You negate what you assembled in a sense. To disassociate means you don't associate it, but you reverse the association, or you disconnect the association, or you negate the association. So that's what the des in Spanish does, basically what the dis in English does, the prefix. Ayuno in Spanish means fasting. And the word in English, breakfast, fast is fasting, right? So it's the idea that you slept through the night and you haven't eaten all that time. So all that time you're fasting. And then when it comes morning time, you're going to break your fasting. So you're going to have, that's why it's called breakfast. I'm pretty sure that's right. Or I could just be talking out of my ass, but okay. So ayuno means fasting. So it has the same literal meaning. Breakfast and desayuno have the same literal meaning, meaning to break fast, right? To break the fast, as in not to break fast, but like to break our fasting. Okay. And the related verb in Spanish, because we know that infinitives end with an AR, ER, IR, is desayunar. So desayunar means to have breakfast. But I'm not going to employ the verb here, but down the road I will, because if you learn desayuno, desayunar should not be like, yeah, a big thing to also ask you to remember. It's a regular verb, AR verb, it conjugates like hablar, so you should not have a problem, right? Yo desayuno, tú desayunas, ella desayuna, nosotros desayunamos, ustedes desayunan. That sounds weird to me. We almost never use it that way. But anyway, so okay, so continue. Almuerzo. Almuerzo is lunch. Almuerzo is lunch. The AL is an Arabic origin, meaning the, right? It's like, yeah, al. You've seen the al in people's names. It means the. Muerzo comes from the Vulgar Latin, so later evolved Latin, which is almorsus, which is very similar to the English morsel, right? So almorsus, so we get muerzo from the Vulgar Latin almorsus, and almorsus meaning the morsel or a morsel, like a bite. So the lunch was kind of like a small meal between breakfast and dinner. You can just think of it that way, right? So the related verb is almorzar, to have lunch, almorzar. So morsel so if you connect muerzo to morsel, and you can think of lunch as the small meal between breakfast and dinner, then you should remember almuerzo as lunch, hopefully. Cena. Now, I was going to choose a different word here because we have a different word for another kind of meal in South America, at least. I don't know about, but we'll just choose cena because it's probably going to be the most common one. Cena means dinner or supper. And cena is from the Latin, it's the exact same word, but they would say cena, and it's the main meal. It's the main meal, which they had in the evening, and so basically that turned into our dinner, right? That's what we think of as dinner. The main meal in the evening we have as dinner. So the related verb is cenar, right? They all AR verbs: desayunar, almorzar, cenar. Okay, so cena is okay. Now sin, or I sorry, I said that like a English American. Sin comes from the Latin sine, which means without, and sin in Spanish means without. Sine in Latin means without, and we have this expression in English. This, well, we pronounce it the sine qua non, right? The sine qua non means that thing that you cannot leave out because it's essential, right? It's the sine qua non. It's the essential thing. Literally it would be without which not, right? Sine without, qua which, and non not. So it basically means it's the sine qua non, right? Like trust is the sine qua non of a good relationship, right? Or love is the sine qua non of a healthy marriage, right? Something like that, right? So it's you can't do without this thing if you're going to have this other thing. So sine in Latin is without, and so sin in Spanish is without. Easy connection if you remember sine qua non. Then there's other expressions we can use with sine that Latin phrases that we use in English, but I think this is enough. Delicioso, which is with the O ending, is the masculine. If you're modifying a masculine noun, it's delicioso. If you're modifying a feminine noun, it's deliciosa. And I put no mnemonic because delicioso is obviously delicious, right? Deliciosa is obviously delicious, right? Okay. Sal. I also put no mnemonic here, no etymology here, because the Latin sal means salt. In English, we're just adding a T to the word sal from the Latin, and we have salt. Salty, salt, right? So sal is salt. Okay, salt and salt. Again, no mnemonics, just straight out like brute memorization because the connection is already there, right? Like the connection is already there. Next, nadie. Nadie. Nadie means nobody. It comes from the Latin nemo. Like remember the Disney movie, what's it called? Something like Finding Nemo, right? What's the movie? Something about Nemo, and I always like, oh, they're trying to find nobody. Anyway, Nemo. There's a famous YouTuber chess player. She's a hot Asian girl. Like I think she was a I don't know if she's a I think she was a grandmaster. I don't know if she's anyway, her name is Nemo. Um But here, so Nemo means nobody. Nemo means no one, and so that's for the Latin. So we get nadie. Nadie means nobody, right? Nadie. Nada, which is related, obviously, but we get from nihil. Nihil means nothing, right? Nihilism, right? When the idea that nothing has any meaning or any value, nihilism, right? If you're a Nietzsche reader, you know nihilism. Well, he had a positive nihilist perspective on things. Anyway, nihilism means not nihil means nothing. Nihilism, the cognate, is like that nothing has any meaning or value, and so it's not so closely connected to nada, but nada means nothing. Okay, last one, solamente. Solamente means only or just, and we have English cognates: solely, only, like solo, like alone, solitary, right, by itself, and the mente in Spanish is basically the ly in English. It's how we turn adjectives basically to adverbs. So, for example, rápido is fast in Spanish. Rápidamente is quickly or fast. It's fast too, but it's the adverb, right? Okay, so if you see the mente, you probably have an adverb on your hands. And here we're taking solamente, right? Okay. There's a reason why it's sola and not solo, but we don't need to go into that. But it's going to be a very useful thing to learn later. It's very easy to take an adjective in Spanish and make it an adverb. There's only really two things you have to remember. If the adjective ends with an O, you switch it for an A and add mente. And if it doesn't, you just add mente. That's why, yeah. That's why rapido with an O, you change the O to an A and then it becomes rapida, and then you add mente. But for example, what's an adverb that we don't do that with? Fácil. Fácil means easy. Fácil. F-A-C-I-L. Fácil. And so it doesn't end with an O, so we just add mente. Fácilmente. Right? So it's very easy to go from adjective to adverb in Spanish. Super easy. It's easier than English. Because English, sometimes you have like words like fast, and fast can be an adjective or an adverb, right? Or you have well, which is the adverb, and good is the adjective. So that's irregular, but okay. But in Spanish, it's more regular. Spanish is more regular than English, but there's just more things to more grammar. There's more of it, more pieces, but the pieces, think of them, are like regular. If you think of the pieces as the bits of grammar. Okay, anyway, so that's it. So those are the that's the vocabulary. So one more time, quick review. Para, for, or to, or by. Desayuno, right? Breakfast. We're gonna break our fast. Desayuno is breakfast. Almuerzo, lunch. Cena, dinner. Sin, without. Delicioso, deliciosa, delicious. Sal, salt. Nadie, nobody. Nada, nothing. Solamente is only, or just, but only. Okay. Now, today the new grammar is going to be, I have to shrink this back to 100 size so I can see it on the screen together. Can I? I think one second. Yeah, I think I can do this too. Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about the possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives. So many people, so many textbooks call these possessive pronouns. They are not pronouns. Pronouns replace nouns. That means the nouns are contained within the word, like mine, like this is mine. Like if you say this is, like if I say this is mine, then I'm saying this remote control, right? The remote control is contained kind of in the word mine. But if I say this is my remote control, the word my doesn't contain the word remote control. That's why I have to add the noun remote control. This is my remote control. My is an adjective. That's why I need the noun. It modifies this noun, remote control. But the word mine doesn't modify this, right? It's contained in it, right? I don't need another word. It would be weird to say this is mine remote control, right? This is mine. That's just bad grammar, right? So these are possessive adjectives because they're going to modify nouns. And when they don't, well, then they're pronouns, if they can be. But okay, so here we go. So related to yo, related to I, related to the person talking, first person singular, is me. So me is my. Me is my. In Spanish, because we have genders and because we have numbers, right, singular, plural, gender, masculine, feminine, we sometimes have to have 4 different words. One for masculine singular, masculine plural, feminine singular, feminine plural, because they have to agree. They have to agree in number and in gender. So those are 4 different ways. But with the possessive adjectives, the only time you have to worry about that is with the nosotros. Otherwise, you just have to remember about singular or plural. So you don't have to worry about gender. So me for singular, mi hamburguesa, my hamburger. Mi ensalada, my salad. But mis is plural. It doesn't matter yo. The yo doesn't matter here. It's modifying. So mis perros. Remember, perros is dog. Perro is dog, and perros is dogs. We did it when we associated pero, but with perro, dogs. Okay, we didn't really add perro as a vocabulary word, but okay, so I'm giving it to you now. Mis perros, mi perro, singular, mis perros, plural. My dog, my dogs. Tu let's choose one word. I'll choose banana. Let's just choose banana since it's one of the vocabulary words, which is plátano. Plátano, singular. Plátanos, plural. Tu plátano. Tu plátano, because plátano is singular. Tu plátano. And notice the tu possessive adjective does not have the accent mark. The tu subject pronoun over here does have the accent mark. So this tu, and this tu are different. And they're spelled differently in a sense because one has accent mark and the other one doesn't. And one means you and the other one means your. Okay. Tus plátanos. Tus plátanos. Your bananas. Tu plátano. Your banana. Tus plátanos. Su plátano. Su plátano could be his banana. Hubba hubba. Or her banana. So, well, tranny action. Okay, so su plátano can be his banana and her banana. And I'm gonna say comment later on again. It can be more than that, but for now, if you want to say his banana, su plátano. Her banana, still su plátano. His bananas, sus plátanos. Her bananas, sus plátanos. So if you need to like if you want to disambiguate it, you're going to have to somehow add extra words to say you're talking about her bananas and not his bananas. Okay, but in context, usually you won't need to. Now, the one nosotros. Now here I put all 4 versions because now there are 4 different words for nosotros, for the hour. Nuestro, masculine, plátano. Nuestro plátano. Plátano is masculine. Nuestros plátanos, masculine. Plátanos is masculine and plural. Nuestros plátanos. Nuestra pera. Pera is feminine, means pear, but singular. Nuestra pera, our pear. Nuestras peras. Nuestras peras are pears. So, yeah, so modifying nouns with adjectives, in a lot of cases, you're going to have to take into consideration whether that noun is singular or plural, whether that noun is masculine or feminine, because there might be an individual word for each case, right? So nuestro, nuestros, nuestra, nuestros. I'm assuming you understand it. I'm not expecting you to memorize all this, but there it is. Now, for the plural, it's nothing to remember. If you remember él, if you remember his and her, su, that's the same word all the way down. For you guys plural, for they plural, and for you polite plural. So you just really only like the difficult one, not the difficult one, but the nosotros is there's more of it to remember. But me is like my, it starts with an M, me, my, but it just say me, mis, and making it plural is nothing. We're just adding an S, right? Me, singular, mis, plural. Tu is the same as the subject pronoun. We just don't put the accent, right? So it's tu and tus, easy. Me, mis, tu, tus. And then sus applies for everything else except for nosotros. And nosotros has that funny nosotros spelling. And so the nuestros, and the nuestros, nuestra, nuestras look similar to nosotros, right? You just have that weird UE after the N for nuestro, right? Nuestro, and then nuestros, nuestra, nuestras. Okay, that's it. Those are the possessive adjectives. It doesn't matter who you're saying it about, right? It doesn't matter that it's about yo. It doesn't matter that it's about nosotros. It doesn't matter that it's about usted. What matters when you choose between me, mis, or tú, tus, or nuestro, or nuestra, is the noun you are actually modifying, the noun you are describing. Right. Okay. That's possessive adjectives. It's about as straightforward as I can give it. Okay, down. 3 grammar tips before we do our exercises, translation exercise with just the verb comer, but I'm using lesson one vocabulary, except I'm not using the verb hablar, but I am using the other vocabulary. And yeah, so tip number one, possessive adjectives like me, mis, tú, tus, sus, sus, nuestro, nuestra, blah, 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 precede the nouns that they modify, just like English. We say my dog, my before the dog. In some languages, you will say dog my, right? In some languages, you say dog my, but in English, we put the adjective or the modifier, possessive adjective first. My dog. In Spanish, mi perro. We do the same thing. But we match them in number, right? So if it's one dog, mi perro. If it's two or more dogs, mis perros. And sometimes only with a nosotros, only with a nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras, we use gender too. Gender matters. But the other ones, the gender doesn't matter. It's just singular or plural matters. But when it says, when we have nuestro, nuestra, then we have to figure out if it's perros, that's masculine and plural. So it's nuestros perros. If it's plátano, singular, it's masculine, singular. So it's nuestro plátano. If it's peras, peras, or perras, which are like female dogs, bitches, nuestras perras, our bitches, mis perras, my bitches. Anyway, you get the idea, right? Okay. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, the prepositional phrase para, and then whatever noun you're putting, right? So para means for. Usually, most of the time it's gonna be translated as for, like for breakfast, for you, like for dinner, whatever you're putting. This typically goes at the beginning of the clause or the sentence, you can think of it, or the end of that clause or that sentence. That's the typical. It's not the only, but like that's usually a good place to put them. And again, we're doing shortcuts here. We're not trying to be exhaustive in the grammar. We just want to know where can I put this and speak proper grammar. I mean, speak proper Spanish. So just you can do that. And the prepositional phrase sin sal, without salt, right? For example, would go after the noun or verb that it modifies, right? After, immediately after, right? So the para, whatever, will usually go in the beginning of the sentence or the end of the sentence, but the prepositional phrase sin will go immediately after the noun it modifies, right? Or after the verb it modifies, if you're using it like an adverb. Sometimes it could be an adjective. Prepositional phrases can be adjectives or adverbs, so they can modify nouns or verbs. Okay, but here in ours, we're probably just going to say sin sal, which means without salt, right? Okay, that's it. So here we go. Well, let's do the. Okay, so I'm going to give you tips after I give you time. I'm going to give you time, then I'm going to give you tips. Oh, actually, let me make this a little bigger. That's what she said. Okay, I should have done it earlier, I think, but this is fine. Number one, and I need to put an accent mark over the U here. Tú comes plátanos todos los días. Tú comes plátanos todos los días. Tú, remember, we're just doing the comer verb, which is the eat, to eat verb. So you should not have any, if you figure out the subject, you should not have any problem translating the verb. But mainly you should focus on the verb. Tú comes plátanos todos los días. So tú comes is, you guys should know this by now, you eat. Plátanos, do you remember the mnemonic? Plantains, bananas. Todos los días, todos, all, los días, the days, all the days. So you eat bananas every day. You eat bananas every day. Tú comes plátanos todos los días. If I say a little faster, tú comes plátanos todos los días. You see you notice that when people speak natively, they start to like blend words in and like, join words in and kind of some sounds change, but tú comes plátanos todos los días. Todos los días, todos los días, todos los días won't be so articulated. Todos los días separately. It'll kind of be like todos los días. Okay, tú comes plátanos todos los días. Um, that's it. Number one. Number two, mi mamá, notice the accent on the mamá, second syllable. Mi mamá come ensalada para el almuerzo. Para el almuerzo. Mi mamá come ensalada para el almuerzo. Mi mamá. That should not be difficult. Mi mamá. My mother. Come. We already know what come is because we know my mother, it must mean eats, right? Because the only verb we're using is the comer verb here. Mi mamá come. Ensalada. Like if you cannot figure out ensalada, you are hopeless. Salad. My mother eats salad. Para. Do you remember para? Do you remember para? Para has like a few meanings, right? For, to, in order to buy. So para el almuerzo. I didn't teach you el, but you remember almuerzo. Almuerzo is lunch. So here it's for lunch. But in Spanish, grammatically, we throw in the. El almuerzo. In English, we don't throw in the. We don't say for the lunch. We just say for lunch. But in Spanish, we say para el almuerzo. And Spanish has this habit of throwing in these prepositions or these articles where English doesn't, right? But mainly like these articles. But sometimes prepositions, and you'll see that later as we get a little bit more advanced. We're not going to get super advanced. This is a basic grammar series, so we're going to stay roughly within. Well, we're going to stay within the basics, I hope. Okay, that was it. So my mother eats salad for lunch. Nuestro padre no come fruta. I didn't give you padre, but come on, padre. Like when you talk to a priest, you call him padre, and padre is obviously or from the Latin pater, pater familias, pater, patricide, killing of your father, right? So nuestro. So padre is singular; it's one father. So that's why it's nuestro with an O and not an S, masculine singular. Nuestro padre. Do you remember nuestro padre? Nuestro. It's the one long weird one, and so it's for we. The we is always the long one, right? Okay. Nuestro padre no come. I threw in the adverb no this time, so I made a negative verb. No come. So our father doesn't eat fruta. I didn't give you this verb, but it's so close in cognate. It's a cognate of our English word, fruta, fruit. Our father does not eat fruit. Our father does not eat fruit. Ellos comen ceviche sin sal. Ellos comen ceviche sin sal. Ellos comen ceviche sin sal. I'm not going to put in any accent marks. I'll just leave it. Ellos comen ceviche sin sal. Ellos. We're already down. We already got the subject pronouns. Like if you don't have the subject pronouns down, you probably didn't watch video one, and you didn't follow. And I don't mean go and watch it like speed through it. I mean do the exercises, be attentive, and yeah, it's kind of long, but anyway. So ellos comen ceviche. Again, if you haven't had ceviche, you are missing out. You are missing out. Ellos comen ceviche. They eat ceviche. Sin sal. Remember sin? From the Latin sine, the sine qua non, that which you cannot do without, that which cannot be done without which not, literally, sine qua non. Sin means without, and sal is very close to our English salt. They eat ceviche without salt. Okay. Number 5. Yo siempre como pescado para la cena. Pescado. I'll give you a clue for pescado in a second. Yo, like, I don't even want to give you time for yo. Siempre. Remember the Marine Corps motto, Semper Fidelis? It means always faithful, right? Semper in Latin means always. That's where we get siempre in Spanish. Yo siempre, I always, como, has to be eat. I always eat pescado. Pescado is a cognate of, like, if you know your zodiac signs, Pisces, The Pisces are what? Pisces are what? Fish, right? And this is the same. Pescado, fish. Pescado is fish. Yo siempre como pescado para la cena, for dinner. And again, you see the definite article la, because we throw it in Spanish, but we don't do that in English. We just say for dinner. We don't say for the dinner. But in a literal translation of the Spanish would be for the dinner. Okay. So I always eat fish for dinner. Number 6. Ustedes nunca comen tallarines sin sal. Ustedes. Ustedes. Again, if this was the Spanish from Spain, it would be vosotros. This is the one difference. This is one of the major differences between Spanish from Spain and I think maybe Argentina, maybe Uruguay, but I'm not sure, or Uruguay. But in the rest of South America, pretty much, and in Central America, we use the ustedes for the most part. Like it's ustedes is more popular worldwide than vosotros. Ustedes, you guys, or just you, but it means the plural. Nunca, right? The Latin was nunquam, nunquam, and it's close to our never, right? So you guys never, and we know comen has to be eat. You guys never eat tallarines. This is not very close to what the original is. So like you're forgiven if you don't remember here. Spaghetti, sin sal. We already had sin sal. And number 4, without salt. Sorry, it's 11, like almost 15 here. PM. You guys never eat spaghetti without salt. Okay. Number 7. Para el desayuno. Remember, I said this expression, this prepositional phrase is very common in the beginning of the sentence. And so here it is. Para el desayuno, nosotros comemos cereal. Cereal. I wrote cereal, but I think that's how we spell it in Spanish. Cereal. Cereal. I think that's right too. Con plátano. Para el desayuno. Para el desayuno. Desayuno literally means to break the fast. And so it means breakfast. Para el desayuno. For breakfast. Nosotros comemos. We eat cereal, which is cereal. Con plátano, with banana. With banana. I love cereal with banana. I slice up the banana, pour over my milk, or if it's not already in there, it should be in there, right? And then don't be one of the people that puts the milk last. Actually, it doesn't matter. Anyway. Okay, so para el desayuno nosotros comemos cereal con plátano. For breakfast, we eat cereal with banana. Ellas, number 8. Ellas comen peras deliciosas para el almuerzo. Ellas comen, easy peasy, Japanesey. Ellas comen peras, very similar to the Spanish, to the English. It's the exact same letters. We'll just switch the R and the A, and we have pears. Deliciosas, because pears is feminine and plural, deliciosas. In Spanish, generally adjectives go after the nouns, but you can put it before. You can say, ellas comen deliciosas peras. It can, it's not incorrect. It's just much more common here. It's just much more common to put it after. Peras deliciosas. Para el almuerzo. For almuerzo. Lunch, right? Almuerzo, the morsels, the small bite, the small meal between the breakfast and dinner idea. That's it. So they have delicious pears for lunch. Nadie come tacos sin salsa. And notice I didn't define salsa for you because it's basically English too, right? Nadie come tacos sin salsa. Nadie. Remember nadie? nadie. Okay, means nobody. Come, only verb we're using, nobody eats. Tacos is tacos, sin is without, and salsa is salsa. Nobody eats tacos without salsa. Okay. Facts. 10. A veces, lesson 1 grammar, lesson 1 vocab. Tú comes plátanos con María, con lesson 1 vocab. Y lesson 1 vocab. Juan siempre, lesson 1 vocab, come manzanas. This is this lesson's vocab, con mi perro. Okay, I'll give you time because these last two are longer, and I always try to finish with the long ones and see like if you can do it on your own. I'll read them, but I won't give you clues yet. A veces tú comes plátanos con María y Juan siempre come manzanas con mi perro. A veces, sometimes. Tú comes, you eat, plátanos, bananas, con María, with Maria. Sometimes you eat bananas with Maria. Y Juan, and Juan, siempre, always, come, eat, manzanas. I don't think I explained manzanas. Did I? I think I didn't. I meant to, oh, that's what I meant to do. Excuse me. I was going to originally use manzanas, but then I changed it to peras. But peras, will stick to what we know. I don't want to introduce stuff. So my bad. Come peras con mi perro. Okay. A veces tú comes plátanos con María y Juan siempre come peras con mi perro. Peras con mi perro. Peras con mi perro. It's going to be tricky to say for you. And Juan always eats pears with my dog. Juan is a strange one. Oh, canine action, Juan. I want to see you on. I don't want to see you on. I was trying to think of some kind of website where they, you know what I mean. It's probably good that that doesn't come to mind so quickly. I don't know. What was the website's name for that? Anyway, so last one. I'll read it, but I'm not going to give you clues. I'll let you try to figure it out. Mis amigos comen tallarines con sal, pero yo como tallarines sin sal. Y María no come tallarines, solamente ensaladas. Mis amigos comen tallarines con sal, pero yo como tallarines sin sal. Y María no come tallarines, solamente ensaladas. Mis amigos. I didn't define amigos because like I feel like it's a common English word. I mean, common Americans know this word, right? We know a lot of Spanish words that just like even if we know like gracias as gracias, but we know amigo, right? And we know like hermano, right? We know mamá, papá, right? So a mis amigos, my friends, amigos with an OS. If it was female friends, amigas, and it would still be mis amigas because the mi is just for plural or singular, not gendered. Okay, so mis amigos comen, they eat tallarines. Do you remember tallarines now? Spaghetti. Con sal. Con is with. If you didn't watch lesson 1, that's where you would see con, find con. Sal is from this lesson, salt. My friends eat spaghetti with salt. Pero, but, yo como, but I eat spaghetti sin sal, without salt. Y María and Maria no come tallarines. She doesn't eat spaghetti. Solamente ensaladas. Just salads or only salads, right? So my friends eat spaghetti with salt, but I eat spaghetti without salt, and Maria doesn't eat spaghetti, just salads. That's it. That's the Spanish. If you went through with this, again, this is not necessarily a shadowing video. This is a video to teach you grammar. This is a video to practice conjugating. This is a video to give you a handful of vocabulary and start using the language to translate sentences. This is not the video to get conversational in. This, you really need first to just inundate yourself with a lot of listening, with a lot of Spanish expressions, and like get like 15 to 1800 words under your belt where they are like fluent for you. And I'm producing a series to do that. I'm not going to say it's going to be effective. That would be amazing. It'd be effective, like super effective. Like I meant for it to be effective, but who knows how it's going to turn out? Like imagine that me, some idiot on the internet, had the key to making people conversational in foreign languages, right? I'd be like a millionaire, but no, I'm like a pauper. Anyway, so that's it. I hope this practice helps. But as you acquire more vocabulary, obviously, then later when you get to the intermediate stage, all of this grammar is going to help. But some grammar is going to help in just like learning phrases, because sometimes the grammar tips is going to help you remember the meaning of certain sentences or expressions. Okay. If you've watched 1 and 2, yeah, you don't have to leave a comment. I'm gonna continue making this series. This basic introductory series is gonna consist roughly of 10, and then that's it. I'm gonna cut it off. And then I'm gonna start to devote more time to the series, which I'm calling Imminent Fluency, which is the more important series. It's the one that's gonna get you conversational. Well, it's the one intended to get you conversational. This series is not intended to get you conversational. This series is actually intended for those of you who finish the Imminent Fluency series. And that Imminency Fluency series is going to be like 45 videos, right? 45 to 50 videos. So like really, like I intend for people to watch this series, I don't know how many, like a few months down the road from beginning the other series, which I have not yet started to put on, to make available, but I will soon. Famous last words. All right, that's it. Leave a comment if you want. If I have some kind of typo or misspelling, or and sometimes I might misspeak. This is all off. Like this is all extemporaneous. This is all off. This is like not ad hoc, but you know, it's not scripted, right? So I'm gonna sometimes misspeak, and maybe I won't even realize that I've said something wrong. Um, but if you can figure it out, then I just figure it out. Figure out what I meant to say. But if you think like I'm steering people wrong because I said something incorrectly, or I'm teaching something incorrectly, point it out, and you know, I'll maybe like make a note of it in the video somehow. But I really hate to do editing of videos. All right, that's it. I'm talking too much. See you. Sorry about today. I kept looking over to the side, but I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna clock out. Adios. Hasta luego. Ciao. Bye bye. Salvo. Matane. Naskladano. See ya.